Welcome to Mental Playbook. I'm your host, Riley Sager. The common trait in any high-performance athlete is the ability to push oneself from good to great. Together, we will hear from collegiate and professional athletes and coaches to understand the psyche of athletes, the mentality of competing, the role of the subconscious mind, and much more. I'm so excited to have my good friend and West Point basketball guard, Stella Chartrand, on today's episode. Stella is a freshman at the United States Military Academy and not only has a long list of high school accolades from four-time first-team All-Region player to Offensive and Defensive Player of the Year awards, but has also endured some of the toughest physical and mental challenges that come with training as a military cadet. I can't wait for you to hear her story. This is Mental Playbook. Stella Chartrand, welcome to Mental Playbook.
Thanks for having me.
Now you're home for the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
How long? You got 5-6 days here in Atlanta?
6 days.
6 days. 6 days. You go back tomorrow. Tomorrow for practice tomorrow night. Oh my gosh. Whether you're in the military or not, it's always that first year that's the hardest. What about growing up, high school, besides having an older brother, prepared you for this?
Well, I feel like all of high school, I definitely had fun with being in Atlanta and having all these friends, going to Westminster. But I mean, it was definitely time for something different. And I know that what I want to do with my life and the things that I people I want to serve and the opportunities to have, I just knew that West Point would do that for me, and that was something I was really interested in. And playing basketball since forever. I don't even remember when I started playing basketball. It's playing at the next level was something that was so important to me. So I feel that just knowing that I wanted to do something different instead of just going to a normal civilian college, that's kind of pushed me, and physically and mentally that pushed me to where I am today.
Did you have any athlete role models you looked up to?
Obviously my brother. He was, we always guard each other in basketball, play each other in sports. So he was definitely super amazing role model. And then Courtney Ogden was my teammate for 3 years in basketball in high school. And obviously she's a fantastic athlete. She plays at Stanford, was an Olympian. So, I mean, playing with her all of high school and middle school was just fantastic. And I definitely look up to her.
What did she teach you?
I mean, she just taught me, we played in the Final Four together my junior year of high school, and she was just taught me, calmness, patience, perseverance, and, just knowing that, you have the ability to do things and, just do them,
Mm-hmm.
And she has such a great IQ in basketball, so she taught me so many different things about, whether it was, pivoting or, shooting. She's just, she just boosted my confidence a lot.
What aspects of your game were fundamental to you being able to play at this level?
I would definitely say shooting. I'm a shooter, so I mean, I've been shooting in my front yard since I was in second grade, probably even sooner than that. And I mean, that is what I do. So I know that I can take that to the next level.
What about off days? How do you get over that? Especially with shooting, it is a lot of muscle memory, and it's all the reps you've done before. It's not just, oh, you've been in the gym recently, you're going to make the shot. It's all of those shots you've made in the past 10, 15 years. So when you have a day, things aren't just going your way. How do you get over that?
Well, I think the biggest thing is I have a bad game. I just get back to the basics. I do my shot forms. I get on the gun, which has been it's my favorite thing to do. Just shoot on the gun. It's repetition, like you said. And then just mental confidence in myself, saying I've shot this shot 1,000 times. Yeah. I know how to play basketball. I didn't go in today, but doesn't mean it won't go in tomorrow. So you have to have that shooter's mindset. I don't know if you know about that, but just you always shoot the next shot. You miss it, just forget about it, flush it, and shoot the next shot. And I think that's that's really helpful. I think that's helpful in life and basketball and anything you do. Just flush it.
When you shoot, are you thinking?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, I've had to not think this, but all the time I'm okay, don't miss this, or come on, you got to make this. Just and I think I play my best when I don't think. You know, I feel it's I just look back at the rim, do my shot, and I'll go in. But when I start thinking, that's when it gets bad.
A lot of people say that because I mean, I remember in high school when I was playing tennis, there was one match and I think I double faulted 8 times in a row, 2 games, and then Kate, doubles partner, she was Riley, stop thinking. As soon as you stop thinking, I'm
yeah, just don't think, just play. You know how to play the sport. You've been doing it forever. It's crazy. And it's so much easier said than done. And I mean, especially for me, and a few of my teammates on the basketball team as freshmen, it's really hard coming in. You're a little intimidated playing with all these girls, and it's just don't really think about it.
Yeah.
But it's hard because coaches are like, you have so many plays, so many things you have
Yeah.
to do, like footwork, everything. So your brain is just twisting and you're like trying to figure out what to do. And then it's just like the game will come to you. Don't really think about it.
So what do you control that allows you to not think when you're on the court? Like pregame, postgame?
Well, pregame, obviously, I just like get my shots up. I get like the shots that I will see in a game. So I just like control my breathing then. I'm like, I watch it go through the net. And it's like, okay, I can do this. During the game, you know, just gotta control your breaths, like know that you've done this forever, and like just trust yourself, trust your teammates, trust the coaches and everything that like they have for you, like right in front of you, like the plays and everything. And then obviously post game, I mean, I like do my stretches and I just like shower, you know, just like calm down after the game. And I feel like that like sets me up for like the next day at practice or next game, you know, just like calm down. It's okay.
Yeah. Do you journal or anything like that?
I used to journal a lot during high school. I honestly don't really have that much time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like I would if I had more time,
Yeah.
but I used to journal a ton. I do a lot of self-talk, you know,
Yeah.
I'm like, you got this, you can do this. And I know it's a little corny, but like, I think it's important that people, like, you talk to yourself, like, even if it's just like not even speaking out words, like you're just like talking to yourself inside, you know?
So many athletes have spoken out about that.
Yeah.
I mean, whether you're looking in the mirror or not, just affirmations, and it's kind of just solidifying your beliefs, because what you believe internally, whether you're thinking about it or not, is like the product that you're going to see on the court.
Definitely, yeah.
What's the most mentally tough moment from high school? Like before you went to West Point,
Okay.
and then since you got to West Point?
I think the most mentally tough thing, like for basketball at Westminster, was being a senior. Like I wasn't a lone senior. I had 3 other seniors. Awesome, love them. It was just my team. Like not everybody else wanted to play at the next level, and so like knowing that, it's like you have to structure it as in like you can't be too hard on people, and you can't expect as much as like you would expect from like your AAU team or like a college team, because not everybody wants what you want, and like not everyone will like work as hard as you want. And like talking to other athletes like soccer, football, like that's just a common theme in high school, because not everyone wants to be a Division I athlete. So I feel like mentally with that, it was really hard, because I wanted to win a region championship and go far in state, and that was just not something our team necessarily like we wanted to that. Like obviously the title would be great, but the work wasn't necessarily there. So like dealing with that mentally, because it was like I want it so bad, and like I'm giving my all in every single game, and then that's just like not the same outcome or like what everyone else wants. So just like figuring out how to be a good leader, and that was something that I learned a lot from, because it was like, how do I talk to these people? How do I talk to my teammates, my friends, like my schoolmates, like everybody in like a way that's respectful, and like showing them that like I care about this, or like I don't know, a way to motivate them. And like it was, you have to talk to different people with like different like tones, just like some people want to be like pumped up, but some people like need encouragement or confidence, and like just figuring that out through like every single girl on my basketball team, like figuring out like what they wanted, the end goals, and like that was something really hard as like a senior leader that I had to deal with last year. But I mean, it definitely prepared me for West Point, and like obviously I'll have a lot more of like conversations, hard conversations, when like I'm actually in the actual Army.
Yeah.
And so at West Point, I guess the hardest mental thing that I had to go through obviously was Beast. I think that was really hard. But like when it comes to sports, like athletics, I feel like just transitioning was really hard. I feel like a lot of people talk about the transition between high school and college, but once you actually experience that transition, you're like, wow, it's a really, really big transition. Whether it's like SEC, ACC, like Patriot League, like which I'm in, it's really difficult, because you have to put so much time and energy in that sport, and it's like all day, all the time, since like August, and it's August till March, and then I still have like all of summer like training and stuff. So just knowing that it's like going to be the biggest part of my life for the next 4 years is like it's really amazing, and I'm so happy for the opportunity, but it's just a lot to process, because you don't get a lot of breaks.
No, you do have to take it one day at a time, because I can imagine it'd be overwhelming. Yeah,
because like you said, you sometimes have off days, sometimes you have really good days. So like tell yourself like you're good, like it's okay during off days. It's challenging, but I mean, that's what I'm doing, and it's going to build me for the better. Basic training.
Least favorite memory and favorite memory.
Okay, I would say my least favorite memory was during land nav. So they give us a protractor, a compass, and a map, and you have to find 6 points all over the woods. And I went at the woods, huge. And you have 3 hours. You're not allowed to talk to anybody else. You're not allowed to like get any help from anybody. It's like an honor board if you do. And so they send you out. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what I'm doing. You have like a pace count you have to follow. Like you have to count your steps. You have to like look at your azimuth. And so I was looking for my final point and I see a bear. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I like start climbing up. And then I see snakes and I'm like, I can't do this. And I was like, I think that was the worst moment ever because I was like, I'm in the woods by myself. I'm trying to find a point to pass this land navigation, to pass like my beast like course, you know, like I have to be able to do this if I want to be here. And like I see like these wildlife animals. I'm like climbing vertically up like a mountain and I'm just like, what am I doing? And I finally get to the mountain, up top of the mountain, cannot find my point. So I'm literally sitting, I don't even know how many feet up in the air, like so high up I can see the entire, like all of West Point. And I'm like, I like almost started crying. I was like, what am I doing? And then that was definitely a moment where I was like, okay, you know, it's okay if I don't find this point. Like I found my other points. I'm just going to go back and hopefully I find my way back, you know. But that was the worst moment, I think. Just like it was a feeling of defeat. Even though I found like the points I needed, I just wanted to find that last point.
Because you can fail that, right?
You can fail that. You have to find 3 out of the 6 points.
Okay.
And so I found, I think, 4 of my points. And I was like, the other one was like so far away. I didn't have enough time. And then the last one, I was like, oh, I can find this. Like it's close to home base. And like I still have like an hour left. Like I'll be able to find this point. It took me like 30 minutes. I couldn't find it. And I was like, you know, I got to head back because if you're not there on time, then like you just qualify for the whole thing.
Right.
So I was just like sitting on top of the mountain, like, dang, I saw a bear, I saw snakes, and now I'm just like, shoot, I didn't even find the point, and I was like scared to death. So that was definitely one of like the lower points, and probably like the first day of basic training because it was like all admin stuff, and like you can't talk, you can't do anything. So I literally was like sitting in my room by myself for 4 hours, no phone, like literally just staring at a wall, being like, there's no way this is happening right now. Like surreal. I have no idea what to do, you know.
Did you know anybody you were with? Like,
no. Yeah. I like walked in and I was there. My roommate, like I had a new roommate, no idea who she was. Now she's like one of my best friends, but like no idea who she was. I mean, they tell you like head and eyes straight forward. So like I didn't like see anybody. I didn't know anybody's name or I didn't even know anyone's face until week 2.
Oh yeah.
So I was so focused on myself, so focused on like what I had to do. You could not look around.
Yeah. Like
during lunch, you had to stare at your plate. Like you could not look around, look up or anything. So like I didn't meet anybody in my like company until like week 2. And then I was like, oh my God, like hi, I'm Stella, you know? So it's like, it's super, super weird and super different.
What skill did you pick up besides land navigation? The biggest skill from those 6 weeks?
Well, I learned how to shoot an M4, which was really crazy because, like, I mean, I've gone hunting before, I've shot a shotgun, but, like, even they were like, even if you've shot a shotgun before, you're not going to be good at this. Yeah. Like, honestly, it'll make you worse because it's such a different, like, aiming and all of that. So I had to qualify on the range, and I had to shoot a bunch of, like, dummies and targets. And, I mean, I was terrified because I have a loaded gun, a weapon with me. And we have like task force, like the enlisted guys that are like teaching us how to do all of this. And the biggest thing, they're like, do not go on full auto or we will tackle you to the ground.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to work this machine. Like I don't know how to do this. And if I turn this on full auto, I will get tackled by a grown man and fall to the ground because like
your gun's on auto.
Yeah. So I think that was the scariest thing. But I did it. I didn't go on full auto. I hit my targets. I qualified, and I was really, really proud of myself because I was like, "Wow, I did that!" And I didn't get in trouble at all. And I mean, they scare you, so you don't do it. And like, obviously, some people may have done that, but like for the most part, everyone did a really good job. And just like getting through that was like such a relief because like nobody likes getting yelled at, and like it's their job to yell at you and like scare you to not do it, but like. I was like, I don't want to get yelled out and called out in front of everybody, you know? So that was a good memory.
How do you handle that? Because like you said, no one wants to get yelled at. And you're bubbly, like, that's not your thing.
It is not my thing. I mean, so the people that are like the detailers, the cadre are in charge of us, they're juniors in college. And they're in my company, and I know all of them now, but in Beast, they were like in charge of us. They were telling us what to do, yelling at us. Like, I would get yelled at like 5 times a day. obviously I've been yelled at by like coaches and like whatnot, but like not like this. And so the biggest thing going in is what I heard was just like, you cannot take it with a grain of salt. Like, they're not yelling at you because they want to yell at you because they're awful, they're mean people, they hate you. They have to yell at you to like train you, you know? And so just like let it go over your head, just take it and just be like, yes, Sergeant, yes, okay. And so the kind of same thing, like obviously you have to take it more seriously when like the task force involved, because it's like they're teaching you really important skills and like dangerous skills, like life-threatening skills. So it's like obviously like pay attention to what they're doing, but like know that they're not yelling at you, they're just like yelling because it's like they don't want anyone to get hurt. So that's obviously something that I had to learn, because I was like, wow, I took that really to heart, and I was like, they're not yelling at me, like they're just, you have to like really talk yourself through that, like they don't hate me, they're just like, they're teaching me. And that was something.
That's a good mindset, though.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, especially in sports, if you have coaches, if you have even your own teammate, you could take it personally, where you're like, okay, I got to do better, that kind of thing. So that's definitely a skill that most people are not familiar with in terms of getting yelled at.
I mean, that's something you got to learn in the military.
What was the last day of training like? And when you came, you marched back in, right?
So that last week we went to Lake Freddy, and that was like super fun. We did a water crossing with like our 45-pound rucksack, which was like actually crazy because I was just like in the water across, like swimming across something with like a bunch of weight on me. And they call it like summer camp because it's like we do fun things the last week, like we do combatives and pugil sticks, and like it's just like a bunch of like skill work, and like we're sleeping in a field for 5 days. And I mean, after not showering for 5 days, you feel really gross, but it's like you're not the only person doing it. So it's like, you know, everyone else smells bad, everyone looks funny, like it's fine. So the last day we all went to bed, I think around like 9, because that's like when the sun went down, and so we're all sleeping in the field. There's like 1,000 of us sleeping in the field, and we wake up at 3 a.m. I eat my MRE, which was, I still can't even like think about it because I ate like ravioli at 3 a.m, like cold ravioli out of like an MRE thing at 3 a.m. And we got our face paint on, put our ACHs on, everything, put our rucksack on, and then we started off for our 14-mile ruck back to West Point. And we did not get back until, I want to say like noon, 1. So we were up from 3 until 12 and 1, and we were walking 14 miles. And it is a brain rot when you're walking for 14 miles, and it's like a slow pace. It's not like a fast pace. Like you have to stay in formation, and you're just walking. You don't talk. You're just walking for 14 miles. And so that takes a lot of mental toughness, because you're like, what am I doing for 14 miles? And like, it doesn't seem that long, but like when you're walking for hours on end, you're tired, you're sore, like everything is just like, there's not really much to think about, not much to do. So it was a fun day, because then we got back and we like were like, oh, Beast is over. We got our phones back. That was really awesome. And then that week after was like called Reorgy Week, and we just like, we met everybody in our company because the entire Corps came back for school to start. We moved into our actual rooms. We met our roommates, like started setting up our room. So that last part was so nice to know that like I was done, and that I was actually started that academic year and not worrying about anything in the military.
I can't even imagine how proud you felt.
Oh my gosh, I was so proud. I looked a little dysfunctional. My hair was everywhere. My face was all black and green and muddy, but I mean, I was really, really proud of myself. And I mean, I got really close with everybody in my company, so it was really nice to like see that everyone had like their hardships throughout Beast, and seeing that everyone overcame it, it was like, wow, we all did it together. And so like that really created a really strong bond with like my plebe class. So that was really awesome.
For the rest of your life, no one else will know what you went through besides those people.
And I think that's the hardest thing. Everyone like asks, everyone wants to know, and it's like you can tell them all you want, but like no one will really understand what you mean. And so like just having those special people, it's like we did that together, and it's really awesome.
What did the transition into school year and preseason look like?
Honestly, it was the hardest week of my life. I think Beast was like Beast was manageable, but the hardest week was like Reorgy Week, because we had to make our beds. I don't think you know, but like when you make your beds, you tape them down and you never actually sleep under the covers. So like I sleep on top of my bed because it's like I taped it down. I made the hospital like corners super nice, crisp, everything, like ironed my bed, and I never sleep under it. Wow. So like that was
interesting.
It took me 4 hours to make my bed with me and my 2 roommates. and you have to like set up your room a particular way. You have to have like the first 2 drawers and your like your drawer like perfectly like clean, like with specific uniforms in it. Like you don't touch it the entire year. And then you have to get your like you get all your uniforms, hang them up, make your bed, like your desk, everything. So like that was a really stressful week because just like it's crazy. I mean, you remember you move into college, it's like basically the same thing.
But nothing like that.
So like that, and then we got our computers, we got our classes, we got our team leaders, which is like a sophomore who like is like our leader of the year and just like shows us all around, tells us what to do, you know, like that kind of stuff. So that transition was really, really hard. And then we started school the next week, and I was like, wait, I was just in the field, like seeing bears and whatnot, and now I'm taking some hard classes. So it was definitely a switch you had to turn on.
It's like a movie. Like,
it's crazy.
You're gonna tell people in 20 years, yeah, back when I was doing training, I saw a bear.
It's not uncommon. People see bears all the time. I mean, like, we're up in the mountains kind of area. And
wow.
They're really
cute. Summertime in New York?
Yeah. That's pretty crazy.
Oh my gosh, a bear. Nothing. That's its own thing that you have to deal with, not to mention you're trying to find your way back with a compass and a protractor.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh, I'm going to stay away from the bear.
Yeah, that's another. Avoid that. So what kind of classes do you have to take?
So West Point has like a really different curriculum. Your first year, like every single freshman like takes the core classes that you have to take to graduate. And there's like a bunch of core requirements like military stuff and whatnot. But they have like weird names. It's like MA 103, HI 101, like PL 100. So it's like history, psychology, math. I took chemistry this semester. You're supposed to take like a language. I won't take that till next year, but and then once you like actually decide like what major you're going to be, like you take different classes, but we haven't declared our majors or anything yet. So we're still taking the core classes. I take boxing next semester, and then next year I'll take survival swimming, and I don't know how well I'll do in that, but
I feel like they're just going to pack a lot of weight on you and
you jump from a 6 foot like bar, you jump into the pool, and you have to like swim through hoops, and like you're in your full uniform, and they're just making sure you can swim through things and jump off high surfaces, I guess. So those are like the core classes you have to take, and so it's pretty crazy.
Boxing actually sounds fun though.
I think, I'm actually really excited about that. Apparently, like if you're not like a really good boxer and you've never like boxed before, like they just automatically give you like a C, which is awful, but like that's what happens. But they teach you how to box, teach you how to defend yourself. So I mean, it would be cool to learn, just like knowing that like I can box, but like.
Yeah, I can do everything. I can shoot a gun. I can navigate.
I can navigate through the woods. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Boxing. I've done one boxing class.
Did you like it?
Yeah. No, it's super fun. Yeah. It's fun to. You feel like you're dying for 60 minutes, but I mean you're used to that with everything you have to go through in training. But no, you do feel empowered. You're like, I can beat someone up. But
just like going against like my friends is gonna be super weird because it's like everyone wants to win, you know. So it's like. And there's some really strong girls at West Point. So, like, knowing that I have to go against these girls, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can do it.
Yeah. So, talking about your team, what did you expect the culture to be like going into it? Because obviously you have the people in your company.
Yes.
And then your class, and then you have these teammates. So
yes.
It's like a bunch of different communities.
I really like that, honestly. I feel like I'm really lucky to have not only my company mates and like my classmates, but I also kind of get a break from all like West Point stuff and go and play basketball. And like these basketball girls, like my best friends. I met some of my favorite people on the basketball team. We have a really strong culture. Actually, I have a bracelet on right now. It says next right thing. So our culture, it's like doing the next right thing all the time, just like putting the right thing ahead of anything that like you personally want to do, you know? And I mean, our coach instills that into us every single day of practice. We talk about it all the time, but like having like such a strong foundation of girls and like everyone I look up to on my team, like all the older girls, everyone's so great. I think everyone gets along really well, and I mean, we all want to win. So it's like, it's really nice having that, like a good competitive team. But all the freshman girls I'm super close with. My best friends, like I said, will probably like for the rest of my life will be on that team. So I'm really lucky.
What was that first practice like? And your coaches, what did they tell you? How did they establish that culture?
Well, during Beast, we were able to, it was called like mass athletics. So we were able to go like play basketball. I think it was like once or twice a week during like the basic training, like at nighttime. Just like if you like were on a sports team, you could like go to your sports team. So like we just did a lot of pickup basketball. and whatnot. And then once the actual like preseason started, I think my first practice was like we had like a meeting. We talked about the culture on our team, like what we want to do this year, and then like we had lift, and then we had like our first like fundamental practice. So like we learned some of the plays and all of that, and like our plays are like really like they're like the foundation of like what we want to do and like how Army plays basketball. So I mean, I've been taught in so many ways that like I could never imagine, and these are some really great coaches and like really great role models. Sorry.
Since coming to West Point, how have you changed as a basketball player?
As a basketball player, I feel like I focus on the things that like need to be done. You know, like you find the coaches talk about like doing your job and like what you need to do for the team, and I feel like in high school it was all me doing everything, you know, like I was the post player, I was a point guard, I was a shooter, I was a rebounder, I played defense, and obviously all those things are super important, but it's like you figure out what you're really good at basketball in West Point, and it's like, and then you do it and you execute. So like if you're really good at defense, like you shine in that area. If you're really good at shooting, you shine in that area. And like obviously I've been a shooter my entire life, so like I was recruited as a shooter, so excelling in that is like super important. That's how you get playing time. It's how you contribute to the team. And so just like knowing that I have to be a good shooter that day, like all the time, and playing defense is like the biggest thing. So I feel like I've been focusing on playing defense a lot. I mean, I was a good defender in high school, but like it's so different in college. So knowing that like you have to actually work at that, and that's something that I've been focusing on.
What does that look like?
I mean, we have a really great defensive coordinator, Coach Glenn, and he talks about moving your feet a lot, and just like our hands are always straight up. In high school, I would always like poke at the ball or like maybe like be a little more risky than I should have been. But like we talk about just like playing back and just not being as, not aggressive, I want to say, but like just knowing that like you're doing your job and not like you're not trying to be a hero in any sense. So I feel like just knowing that and like focusing on like the fundamentals of defense, and like we always go back to the fundamentals, like, you know, getting your daily vitamins is what our coaches says, like doing like the basics, and like just knowing and being excellent at the basics of it is like really like it will make you successful in that aspect.
That's actually really funny because the guys team at USC, there was a press conference after the game, and one of the players was saying, they were talking about defense, and the past 2 weeks they were doing these new defensive skills, and he said daily vitamins. Same thing.
Yeah, it's like, it seems silly. You feel like, oh, I've been doing this since I was in kindergarten, like the basics, but like the basics is what once you're really good at the basics, like, I mean, that's just basketball. Like doing the basics is like what you have to do. And so like the daily vitamins, like just, you know, the shuttle drills that like everyone gets really tired of, but like that's just like how you like continue to get better, is like being really good at the basics.
Yeah. I'm always really interested in how coaches and team leaders are able to bring different personalities, different, you know, strengths in the game, and then make it into a team. So what is unique about your team that makes you guys work on the court?
Well, I think it's really, really cool that like everyone came to West Point for a purpose, and everybody is super competitive. Everybody is like, it's just a different dynamic, and just like different, like there's just different stuff in the air, like, you know, like you're just, everybody wants the same things, everyone's willing to work for it, and everyone's really talented. So I feel like having those three things, it's like everyone wants it, everyone's competitive, everyone's talented, like it's kind of hard to like have like any better of a team, you know. And like there's so much talent. We have a really great point guard, we have great shooters on our team, like everybody knows what they like have to do to be successful, and just knowing that, like putting everything together, it works really well. And I feel like the biggest thing for a team is like bonding, and we brought in 6 freshmen, and so obviously getting used to everybody, figuring out how everyone plays and how to like talk to different people and motivate different people, that has been not a challenge, but just like it's something that you have to learn how to do. But we have 3 of the best captains, I think, in the country. I mean, not only are they excellent on the court, but like they want to know you on a different level. Like they're really good at connecting in that way, and obviously they're going to be officers in a few years, so like having that leadership on like a basketball team is like it brings us to a whole different level that I don't think any other team has.
What better leader than them?
That's what I'm saying, you know. It's like all of us are about to be officers in the Army, and it's like, and she's about to commission in 6 months, so like she really knows how to get on that level with people, and like it's really good for a team.
No, I'm sure that's helpful for you, because there's so many new things about the environment you're in.
Yeah.
And it's terrifying, but then you have these older girls on your team who have been there, but then also like they're getting ready to take their own next step.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you're in similar positions in a way.
Yes, definitely.
I don't know. But also, all of you guys just stepping into the arena on the first day, you're so far ahead of everyone else because going back to that, you've already established the purpose. Yeah. Everybody's on the same page. What was that like talking to them for the first time?
I mean, everyone's just super welcoming. Everyone's like, yeah, like you're here. Congrats on finishing Beast. Like, we're so proud of you guys. But like now it's basketball time, you know. So like knowing that shift and like there's just so much like unselfishness on our team that everyone cares about each other. And I don't know. Obviously, I can't speak about like other teams, but like knowing that my team has such like unselfish players, like personable people, it's super important to just like the team culture that we're trying to create. And I feel like that's like it's something that not a lot of people have, especially like I didn't have in high school, I didn't have during like AAU. I mean, just like it's so different.
Mental toughness is important in any sport, any team. But I feel like no one can break you guys. Like you've gone through more than anyone else. How does mental toughness, what is your perspective on it from the inside? Like, how do you guys see it? Because it's a part of your day. It's not just part of basketball. It's part of your entire life outside of basketball.
Well, I feel like I tell myself, I'm like, I chose this for a reason. I can do this for like a reason. Like I've worked for this my whole life and things get hard, but like I tell myself like, it's going to be okay. You know, like I have this like mantra. I tell myself like, we live on a floating rock and like, obviously things matter. Like you got to do well in school. You got to like be kind to people. You do everything that like a good person would do. But like at the end of the day, like, you know, like it happens. Things happen. I tried my hardest, and if I can tell myself that every single day, and I think every single girl is like, if I tried my hardest at West Point, it's really hard. If you do your best, like that's all you can ask for, you know?
So how do you handle, I mean, because obviously it's going to get to you, maybe just a different level, not as much as maybe someone else, but we talked a little bit earlier, just having those hard days and not letting it affect the rest of the week or something like that, having that big picture mindset. But what do you tell yourself when you have those hard days?
I think that's like one of the hardest things about West Point, and it really takes a lot of adjusting. I feel like when it's a really hard day, whether it's like school's not going my way, basketball is not going my way, I just like try to find a way to like ground myself. And that looks so different at West Point, and I think that as a freshman has been the hardest thing, because in high school, if something didn't go my way, like I'd go to yoga or I'd like go to my favorite restaurant and like talk to my friends, hang out with my family, or like get back into the gym, and like I had so much time to do all this stuff for myself. And I feel like at West Point you don't really have a lot of time for yourself, because you come back, you have 2 or 3 roommates in the room, and you have homework that you have to get to, so there's not a lot of time for like, not like self-pity, but like time to like reflect on like your day. So honestly, like you just got to keep going and knowing that like the next day there's a new day. You can always do more. You can always like strive for more. You can always put in like extra time, not necessarily like you have extra time, but like if I shot bad, you know, maybe I'm going to go in early, wake up before formation and get some shots up, or like schedule a workout with my coach. If school's going hard, like schedule AI, which is like additional instruction, which is really hard to do as an athlete because like you don't really have a lot of time to do that. But just like maybe like setting aside some things that like you normally like would do, just like to do something else. So I don't know, I tell myself that like you can do it. It's okay if like you struggle a little bit. Everybody's struggling. And I think that's the biggest thing, is like a lot of people hide their struggles, but like at West Point, everyone is like, I'm struggling right now. It is hard. And like, no, everyone is like, we got this together. You know, I feel like it's such a strong culture. It's such a strong like environment to have. But like maybe other people hide at other colleges like, oh, like I'm fine. Like I put on a good face. But like at West Point, it's like, we see each other at our worst. Yeah. We know that like things are hard. Like everyone is so willing to help each other. And like if things don't go well up the hill and I come down to my roommates, I get a big hug from my roommates and they're like, it's okay, you know, like there's always tomorrow. And I feel like just having that support system is like, you mean you can't do it on your own. Everyone talks about like you cannot do West Point on your own. And so like just having those people is really what gets me through.
Yeah. You can't hide it, first of all, but you also don't want to, because everybody's going through, they might not have the same reaction to the situations, but it's the same situations.
Definitely.
So you have to rely on them.
Oh, yeah.
I want to talk about pregame.
Okay.
What is your ritual? Are you superstitious? Anything like that you have to do before?
I used to be superstitious about like the spandex I would wear, like the sports bra I would wear, but now I'm like, no, I don't really
all
have
out the window.
all out the window. I mean, I left it all at home. Couldn't
Yeah.
really bring that much to basic training, so I didn't bring my lucky spandex. But I mean, I've been okay without them. It really depends on the day. We usually get out of classes if like it's like a noon game or like later in the day. We get out of classes, so like we all go up the hill. We have formations, so we have formations, accountability, make sure everyone's there. We take the transportation up the hill, and then I mean from there we have like a shoot around, like a practice. So we have like an hour shoot around, which is like basically an hour practice, and then we have like 2 hours before we have to be back on the court. So we go back to the team room. I eat my pregame meal. It's always like Italian food, so it's really good. And then I either do homework, which is like nice to like, I'm like, okay, I won't be stressed later. I get my homework done right now. So I get homework done, or I email teachers like saying like I won't be in class, you know. So that's really nice. And then a lot of people take naps or like watch a movie. A movie's always going in the team room, but I don't know. I usually just like I take a nap for 30 minutes, do some homework, and then everyone's getting ready, getting hair done, makeup done, everyone's getting ready out. So listening to music, doing all that stuff, it's just calming, you know. And no one's really talking. I mean, like we talk for like the first like hour while we're eating, watching a movie, whatever. But once everyone gets their uniforms on, headphones go on, no one really talks. And then we walk to the arena and have our shoot around, and then we have an hour and a half pregame of just like warming up, dynamics, and then we have all of our drills and stuff. So it's a pretty busy pregame.
Do you like that? Because sometimes people are trying to get hype before, they're trying to get the locker room, get the energy up. Other people are completely zoned out. They're like, don't talk to me. I need to focus.
It's definitely different. In high school, I would do like TikToks. I would dance. I would like get super excited. There'd be music blaring. But I mean, it feels like everyone is like so locked in. And so everyone's like minding their own, you know, and like we're all focused on like I guess like breathing, control of breathing. And like it's such a different like environment. Everyone is like super zoned in, ready to like get to work, you know. I don't know if I necessarily like it, because like I mean we play music in the locker room and like we have fun, but like I don't know, I like to, you know, I'm super outgoing. I love to get all like my nervousness out, and I feel like when I get it all to myself, it's like it's like still kind of built up when I'm just like zoned in, you know.
Yeah, it's like more time to think about it.
Yeah, exactly.
What are some bonding things that you've done with your team off the court?
Let's think.
Either your favorite or think you've really helped get closer to the girls.
So my coach, all the head coaches at West Point, they have this like cul-de-sac, and they're beautiful white houses, and all the head coaches live on them. So our coach has us over a few times, just like to have like games or whatnot. And so we did a karaoke thing, which was really fun. Our head conditioning coach and like lifting coach, he is expecting a baby, and so our culture is like we're all about like we all do things together. Everyone's like a part of our family, and so we had like a little party for him. So we did karaoke. We played like some like baby games, you know, like exchanged some things. We like made like a little onesie for him. So like doing those little things like with our team, I feel like that like it makes us not think about basketball, not think about like school or anything. It's just like we're enjoying the people that we have around us, and like we have such a great group of like everybody, you know, like our managers are amazing. We have practice players that are super great, our conditioning coaches and like our trainers, and it's like we're one big family. And like I feel like those are the times where we bond the most, you know. It's like we're away, we're at the coach's house, we're enjoying our time with each other, we're eating good food, and like we had a holiday party before we left. It's just like things like times like that, you're just like, wow, I'm really lucky.
Yeah. And you get to step away from basketball.
Everything. Yeah.
When you look back at how much you've changed this past year, how do you think your identity has shifted since going to West Point?
I feel like I've definitely matured a ton.
Yeah.
Just like these experiences that I've had. I mean, no one else will ever have these experiences. So knowing that like I had the opportunity to do all these things, like I feel like I have such a different perspective, like a unique perspective on like life and like things to appreciate. I mean, I got back from basic training and I was so grateful for like everything that I've like left behind or like I have in my life, you know. And coming home for just 3 days is like the most special thing ever. And like some people may be like, everyone's like, 3 days, like that sucks. Like gosh, that's awful. I'm home for 6 weeks. And like, I'm just really lucky to be home, you know, and not everybody has like somebody to go home to, and like seeing all my friends, and like, I feel like I have a different, like, I don't know, just like thankfulness, you know.
It's just what's important.
I'm so happy, and like, just like things that I have, it's like, wow, I'm just so lucky. And I feel like that's, in high school, it's like you're kind of complacent, you know, like you're like, I mean, yeah, like I have a family, I get food every single day, I go to a nice school, I play basketball, I get clothes, but like when you're like at West Point, you're like, wow, like I was really lucky.
Yeah.
And then like you don't really seem to appreciate it until like you don't have it. Exactly. Or like you just like miss it. So I feel like that's something, and I have a whole different like perspective on life on that because of that.
What is your identity outside of basketball? Because I knew you outside of basketball.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, I'm sure I've seen you play games when I went to Westminster too.
Yeah.
But like, I've never gone to one of your games just to watch you because I didn't know you at that time. So I know you outside of basketball.
Yeah.
So how do you balance Stella off the court and Stella on the court?
So
or do you separate them?
I have to.
Okay.
Our team, like I said, is like super, like not strict, but like when we're playing basketball, it's like we're playing basketball, we're focused on that. There's not really a lot of time for goofing off.
Yeah.
And I love to goof off. I'm such like a goofy person. Like I love laughing, I love talking, and I feel like you have to like turn an off switch for that when you like play basketball, which gets hard because like I love basketball, I love playing basketball, and it's so fun when you're having fun.
Right.
So like I have to find a balance of like having fun and being like locked in. So that's actually been difficult, just like figuring out like when I can like, you know, have more fun than I usually do in practice. But out of practice, you know, I told myself before I left, I was like, I will not let the Army change me. I will not let the Army change my personality. I'm still going to be super outgoing and love having fun and doing things that are like super fun. So, I mean, I'm still the same person, which I told myself I would be. And a lot of people like mention, they're like, wow, you're the same person that you are. I've always been. I'm like, yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Army, like, it's awesome. It's hard, but like, it's not going to change you. Like in that kind of way, you know, like it'll make you like a better person, I want to say, but like it's not going to change like who you are like deep down. Yeah.
What are you most looking forward to rest of the season?
I mean, I hope to win a Patriot League championship. So just like building and seeing my team grow and just fighting for that will be super cool and like an out of world experience.
What about next summer?
Next summer.
What is your plan?
My plan. So I have CFT training. So it's right after exams. What
does that mean? So
it's cadet field training. And so it's basically beast like the last 3 weeks, but like to a whole nother level. Like apparently we do night land nav. So instead of land nav, instead of the bears during the daytime, it's during the nighttime, which is so much scarier. So we do that for, I think it's like 2 or 3 weeks. And then I actually get 3 weeks off. So that'll be really nice. I think I'll travel, go to Europe with my family. I know, super fun. Something that I'm really looking forward to. And then I have to be back it's called PIAD, and it's 5 weeks of basketball in school. So I'll take a class in the summertime to hopefully deload myself during the actual school year. And then we have practices every single day. It's like 5 weeks of that. But it's a lot more chill. It's not as structured as the actual school year. We still have formations in the morning, but like we can leave on the weekends, hang out with everybody. The football team's there, basketball team's there. Like there'll be other athletes there. So it'll be really fun.
Well, Stella, I'm so proud of you. I need to come visit. I need to see you.
Yes, you do.
At West Point.
You definitely do. Oh gosh.
I get snaps, but it's not the same. Like, I need to see you in your element. I would obviously love to come to a game, but just keep doing what you're doing. You're amazing. You inspire everyone.
Oh,
we love you.
So thank
you for coming on Mental Playbook.
Thanks for having me. I loved it.
Of course. Thank you for listening to this episode of Mental Playbook with West Point guard Stella Chartrand. I loved hearing about her journey playing basketball at Army and balancing all the challenges that come with both of these incredible responsibilities. For more Mental Playbook, make sure to subscribe, listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and follow us on Instagram at Mental Playbook Pod.